When a partner suddenly loses the appetite for sex, or sex starts to dry up, it can leave you questioning pretty much everything about the relationship. What's really going on? Is it me? Is it the way I look? Are they having an affair? A lot of people misunderstand the reasons why intimacy starts to dwindle within a relationship. The truth is, it's not about attractiveness or infidelity. The truth is a lot more nuanced. So in this video, we're going to uncover the hidden factors that can cause a partner's sex drive to start to plummet. We're going to talk about how to dig down into these issues and take actionable steps to reignite the spark in your relationship. So I want to open this right up by talking about the intimacy death spiral. So this is a vicious cycle that destroys intimacy within relationships, and most couples don't even realize when they're caught in it. You know, obviously we can understand when we're not having sex, right? But what most people don't understand is how this happens in the first place. How does sex that was once at some point really good, I'm sure, start to dry up, start to change, and start to evolve in a different way? Maybe you've even found yourself caught in this spiral. Well, it's not just about one person losing their libido or not wanting sex. This is a spiral that involves two partners. So the spiral typically starts when one partner notices a drop in sexual activity, right? And that partner starts to react by trying to fix the problem. So they maybe start initiating more sex or buying sexy underwear, starting to suggest new sexual positions, planning elaborate dates. And although these are well-intentioned, they can often backfire really spectacularly. What can happen is the other partner starts to feel more pressured, and this kind of kills the desire for sex even more. What can happen is they can actually start to avoid intimate situations, and this can create a negative feedback loop. Feeling obligated to have sex, feeling forced or pressured at least to have sex significantly decreases arousal and satisfaction for both partners. So the real reasons why intimacy starts to die is not what a lot of people think. So what are these hidden factors that actually drive desire? Let's talk about the most surprising one, which is the link between feeling safe and feeling sexy. So feeling safe and feeling sexy are a lot more connected than a lot of people think. There's actually a really powerful biological link between safety and desire that a lot of couples overlook. So there's two key hormones that play a role in this: oxytocin and estrogen. These chemical messengers have a massive impact on a woman's openness to intimacy. So high oxytocin levels enhance communication and closeness, while low levels lead to guardedness. So it's really crucial to know that emotional safety, which I've done a deeper dive video, which I'll link to up above and in the description down below, this is essential for boosting oxytocin. So when a woman feels emotionally threatened, her oxytocin level plummets, and this makes her more defensive and less open to intimacy. So this isn't about fancy date nights. This is about creating an environment of emotional security. And estrogen is equally important. So higher levels correlate with increased desire, while lower levels suppress it. And again, guess what impacts these hormone levels? Exactly, it's emotional safety again. So attempting to reignite passion through external means, pressuring, initiating more, maybe guilt tripping, maybe awkwardly forcing more dates, these usually backfire. And this tanks both the oxytocin and the estrogen levels. And this creates a perfect storm for intimacy avoidance. So intimacy is fundamentally an emotional experience. It's not a logical one. So the amygdala, which regulates emotions, is heavily influenced by these hormones. So creating emotional safety isn't just nice, it's essential for fostering desire. Building both emotional safety and intellectual intimacy are two crucial elements to build in order to grow intimacy between you both. You know, a lot of people think sex is the starting point. You know, they think that relationships are going to go nowhere unless you have the sexual element. But intimacy is an outcome of a process rather than the process itself. You don't build relationships on sex. Sex is as a result of the elements of a relationship. And just before I move forward, if you do want more videos like this on building and repairing healthy relationships, then feel free to subscribe to my channel for new videos every single week. So the first pitfall that can happen during sex is not being present. This gets you caught up in your own mind, not being fully present during sex, and this can start to make sex feel a bit more like a chore rather than anything else. And if you're feeling that, then that also has an impact on the way that your partner feels about sex as well. Because if they get these vibes that you're not fully present, you're not fully aware, and your mind is elsewhere, then they're going to start to also feel like they may need a reason to pull away as well. They start to feel defensive about this. A lot of people mistakenly think that to generate good sex, to build up to good sex, it's about how good you are in bed, right? The sexual chemistry, the connection. It's about performance, but it's not. It's about connection. There's a pressure to perform in the bedroom, and having this pressure there kills libido. It turns sex into a high-stakes game where pleasure takes a backseat to meeting some imaginary standards. And this creates a vicious cycle of anxiety and ultimately decreased enjoyment about sex. So it's really crucial to know that goal-oriented sex differs fundamentally from pleasure-focused intimacy. When I talk about goal-oriented sex, I'm talking specifically about reaching orgasm or lasting a certain amount of time. By doing this, you're not fully being present during sex. You end up treating sex like a task rather than an experience to savor. So to shift this focus, you've got to let go of this idea that there's a right way to have sex. And if your partner has decreased libido at this moment in time, it's crucial that you're opening these conversations around this subject. So instead of worrying about technique, it's about being present on increasing touch sensations with your partner and being curious, making eye contact. There are many simple acts that create powerful connections during sex that are not connected to physical performance. Building sex is about fully experiencing each other, not reaching for a specific goal. And it's a really important shift in mindset to approach sex as an exploration. And this opens up a world of possibilities. You're not limited by rigid expectations or fears of being inadequate. You're free to discover what truly brings you pleasure and your partner pleasure at the same time. Reframing intimacy this way leads to a lot more satisfying sexual experiences, and it strengthens your entire relationship. And it starts to foster deeper emotional connections. It increases trust and it reduces anxiety both in and out of the bedroom. So how do we build this safety? Well, it's really important to focus on building trust, open communication, and reducing that pressure. When you prioritize emotional connection over sexual performance and pressure, you set the stage for a lot more passionate encounters, and this slowly builds up the desire and intimacy between you both. By prioritizing emotional security, you're literally changing the hormonal landscape to make intimacy more likely and satisfying. But emotional safety is just one piece of the puzzle. It's important to tackle the other massive obstacle, which is communication breakdown that's silently killing that sex life. Your ability to express your needs and understand your partner's desires is really, really crucial for a healthy sex life. But the problem is that a lot of couples struggle with this kind of open communication. There's a lot of shame, there's a lot of fear that gets in the way of talking about sex and intimacy, right? You know, I'm British. There's definitely a barrier when it comes to talking openly about these things. Whether it's with a partner, whether it's just in general society, there is usually a barrier to talking about this. Common communication pitfalls in the bedroom are everywhere. So it's really crucial to know that fostering honest sexual communication strengthens the entire relationship. And this involves making sure that you're creating the emotional safety to be able to talk about it. When you can talk openly about your most vulnerable desires, it creates a powerful bond of trust. So how do you start building this emotional safety to have these conversations? Well, it's important to cultivate this safe space, getting rid of things like blame and start to listen without judgment. This isn't about criticizing or demanding sex. It's about sharing and understanding. So starting with less sensitive topics and build up to more intimate discussions. You know, the more that you practice talking about this, the easier it becomes. And by breaking down these communication barriers around sex and intimacy, you start to create this deeper, more satisfying connection with your partner. And also you start to overcome these emotional and sexual discords that can happen within relationships. And this is a mindset shift when it comes to looking at sex as an emergence of the relationship is a very different way of looking at it. There are a lot of people out there that will put sex as step one within a relationship. But actually, it's not even step two, it's not even step three. So looking at sex in a different way and not deprioritizing it, but making sure that you're building up to sex from an emotional perspective rather than a logical perspective or from a physical perspective will help to start change the direction of the way that you approach sex. And this is what a lot of my members have found, is that once they start to approach sex from an emotional perspective and they start to, rather than condemn their partner for not feeling sexually intimate, but actually start to cultivate curiosity and interest and build a safety around the subject of sex, then they can start having deeper conversations around sex in a safe way, which counterintuitively ends up creating that intimacy from the ground up. And if you do want to join my members and I, then sign up for the free relationship bootcamp, where you'll learn the same steps and tools that all of my members have used to start building their relationships back from the ground up. Just click on the link in the description to grab your spot. And like I mentioned, this is all based around building and growing emotional safety. This is the starting point to building towards all of these conversations in order to start growing this intimacy. The more that you can grow an understanding of all of these issues within the relationship, the more you can start building steps, the more you start to deepen the connection between you and your partner, and the more the intimacy grows. So I'm going to leave you with that video on emotional safety, and I will see you over there.